This is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's start things off with the national news. Hundreds of residents of Isodero suburb, Busonzo Ward, Bukombe district in Gator region have no homes and have been sleeping outdoors for 4 days after natural resource officers allegedly invaded the area and destroyed settlements and crops on claims that the residents have invaded Biharamulo Kahama Forest Reserve.
For
over 35 years we have been here. Where shall we go to? I have lived here almost all my life and my children were born here, same as my grandchildren. I am calling on the president to intervene. My husband died and buried here. I am left with children. Where should I go? I am not moving here. My residents are suffering. There is a few days born baby who right now has no shelter. I'm calling on the government to help these people. I've listened to those who were affected in this exercise. I, together with my fellow leaders, we have seen that the residents should remain calm as we speak with DFC so that we could involve relevant authorities to make quick decisions.
And the Regional Commissioner of Dar es Salaam, Amos Makala, has formed a special investigative team to look into the theft of fuel at the Port Oil Pipeline, whereby the team will be tasked with checking houses and plots adjacent to the pipeline. He made the statement after swearing into office various appointed district commissioners.
Namaanisha kwamba kamati hiyo au kikosi kazi.
The task force will go to areas where the pipe is laid to check all houses or plots along the line. The team has all specialists required. I urge everyone, whether you live there, have a plot of land or a tenant.
Mimi Dennis James ninaahidi umma kwamba nitakuwa mzalendo na mtii kwa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Nitakuwa mwadilifu na mfano kwa watumishi wa umma, watumishi wa bunge, watumishi wa mahakama na watu wengine katika kukuza na kusimamia maadili.
Tumepewa leo na kiongozi wetu mkuu wa mkoa wa Dar es Salaam.
He has listed areas of priority such as revenue collection to enable various projects, but also he has spoken about listening to people's complaints and resolving them.
Yetu ya Kigamboni, lakini pia amegusia kuhusu swala zima la kuwasikiliza wananchi kwa maana ya kero za wananchi na kuzifanyia kazi.
Some members of parliament have advised the government to take financial loans from foreign institutions in its 2021-2022 budget so as to enable business people and investors in the country to take loans from financial institutions within the country.
Nyingi tukope kutoka nje.
We should borrow from outside and little from inside to allow businessmen to borrow from our internal banks, because local businessmen do not have a part to borrow money, and that causes them to not invest much. We need the road to be completed to reach 50 kilometers. We ask you to put your money so that our things can go well and we can finish the road. All public offices are guided by using the CCA manifesto. I ask public servants to not remove the fasting performance of phase 5 and continue with this phase with the same morale.
The President of China, Xi Jinping, has commended the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, for taking over the leadership position following the death of the late President John Pombe Magufuli. The conversation in the talks, this was said in conversation between the two presidents, who also agreed to increase economic, cultural and global cooperation with China and pledged to further open its market to Tanzanian products and increase investment, especially in the industrial sector. In another development, President Samia Suluhu Hassan urged appointed leaders to ensure they work hard for the benefit of the public. She made the statement at the swearing into office of Ambassador Matilda Salha Burian as Regional Commissioner of Tabora and Zuena Omari Jiri as Administrative Secretary of Shinyanga Region in a short ceremony attended by the Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa and various leaders that was held at State House in Chamwino, Dodoma.
Mimi Matilda Salha Burian naapa kwamba natakuwa mwaminifu kwa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania na kuitumikia kwa moyo wangu wote,
na kwamba nitahifadhi, nitailinda na kuitetea Katiba ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania kwa mujibu wa sheria iliyowekwa. Mwenyezi Mungu nisaidie.
Najua Mheshimiwa Mkuu wa Mkoa Mwapishwa, unalo jukumu la kusimamia mkoa wako.
Honorable Region Commissioner, you have the responsibility to oversee your region, to see everyone working, but also Regional Administrative Secretary. You are the chief employee. We want to see all employees working. We expect to see Tanzanian services are managed good. We have many employees in different cadres and are professionals, so we need qualified services. Tanzanians need to acknowledge that this government exists for them, so it is very important to focus on performance.
Mkoa wa Tabora, Dr. Matilda, tuna changamoto.
In Tabora region, we have a revenue collection challenge in the council, whereas the Honorable President directed me that I take full control of the exercise, and in my statistic, I see until May it is only 69%, while the nation is 94%. So you have a job to go and make sure that the councils are working well. The one who is doing well is Kaluria with 95%. And by the order of Honorable President is that every 100 shillings being collected, then 40% should go and solve the grievances of the people.
Na maelekezo ya Mheshimiwa Rais, kila shilingi 100 inayokusanywa, shilingi 40 ipelekwe kutatua kero za wananchi katika elimu, afya, barabara na miundombinu.
The government has begun to open markets for food crops outside the border of the country. This is to help farmers get good prices for their crops that will enable them to increase their incomes and productivity.
Our president has given out direction that we should fight for markets. Let me tell you, what we are trying to achieve right now is increase production and look for bigger markets beyond our borders. All of this is to ensure that farmers' incomes are improved. Her excellent president has already had trade talks with Kenya, South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Mozambique and South Africa. Farmers are suffering from price deteriorations and lack of markets. As the minister in charge, please fight for rights of farmers. Today it's all about mechanization so as to simplify work of every farmer. Honorable Minister, as TADB, we're working closely with farmers by providing loans of combined harvesters. We shall give out 15 machines in total.
Kwa mikopo ambayo ni ya combined harvesters au mashine kwa ajili ya kuvunia mpunga.
Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango has directed the Government Network Authority, Ministry of Health, as well as system experts from the Ministry of Finance to conduct an inspection into the entire system being used by the Medical Stores Department, MSD, so as to stop loss of medicines.
Ni dhamira ya dhati MSD ifanye kazi efficiently. Wananchi wetu wanataka dawa huko vijijini.
It is a serious mission. MSD, make it work efficient. Our citizens want medicine in rural areas. This system will not achieve every health facility. This is my appeal to MSD employees. You must think of other people. Don't use MSD as your own channel for yourself. You're really harming our brothers in rural areas. And the issue of integrity check should be done again.
Pia kwa watumishi wa MSD.
Preparations for an emergency heads of state meeting for member countries of the Southern Africa Development Community SADC have begun in Maputo, Mozambique, whereby the coronavirus pandemic, defense and security, business and investments are among agendas that will be discussed.
One among agendas of this meeting is issues of COVID. We are looking forward on establishment of centers for disasters in the SADC region. Matters of safety and security, especially on what is happening.
That is all for the national news. International news is next. In international news, 3 people were killed in an attack by Al-Shabaab militants in Jabibar area, Mandera County, Kenya. The militants also burnt a truck in a separate incident after hijacking crew who were constructing a road in South Mandera.
Mwenye anampelekea chakula, me as far as I'm concerned, pia huyo ni Al-Shabaab. Mwenye anaambia Al-Shabaab wakiwa msituni, kwa sababu saa hizi serikali imeendelea, iko ujuzi mwingi, tutajua hata hiyo simu akiongea tutapata. Mwenye anawaelezea polisi ndio wao wametoka ama security ndio wao wametoka, ndio weke ID huko, tukimpata pia ni Al-Shabaab.
Swedish Prime Minister Stefan Löfven has lost a no confidence vote, giving the Social Democrat leader a week to resign and hand the Speaker the job of finding a new government or call a snap election.
The nationalist Sweden Democrats has seized the chance to call Monday's vote in Parliament after the Left Party withdrew support for the centre-left government over a plan to ease rent controls for new-build apartments. Löfven has served as Premier since 2014 and is the first Swedish Prime Minister to lose a no-confidence motion. The motion, which required 175 votes in the 349-seat Parliament to pass, was supported by 181 legislator.
The government in Uganda, through the Prime Minister's office, has announced that it will provide financial support to citizens who have been affected by the coronavirus lockdown announced by President Yoweri Museveni last week.
And the voucher system.
There is a need to give financial assistance, and everyone affected will be seen. Those with no mobile phones will be paid via the bank.
People across Ethiopia queued outside voting stations on Monday to vote in elections described by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed as free and fair. Here's more on this report.
The elections are being held against the backdrop of war and famine in the northern Tigray region, with Abiy facing growing international criticism over his handling of the internal strife. The election, delayed from last year, is the centerpiece of a reform drive. Abiy, whose rise to power in 2018 seemed to signal a break with decades of authoritarian rule.
And that is all for the international news. Business news follows after this break.
Tune in to Business Edition and meet business leaders and experts who keep you informed on business and economic developments taking place in the country, such as tourism, construction, energy, transport, mining, agriculture, communication, banking, real estate, and more. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And now in business news. Falling prices from some companies listed at the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange has contributed to a 1.5% drop in the turnover from 16,519 billion .99 shillings to 16,267 billion .93 shillings.
Ukubwa wa soko ulipungua pamoja na viashiria vinavyoendana na ukubwa wa soko ulipungua.
The size of the market decreases by 1.5%, which is equivalent to 252 billion shillings. So the total market size ranged from 16 trillion to 520 billion shillings. And this was due to price reductions in some companies like East African Breweries, Jubilee Holdings, DCB, and others reduced in size.
Zaidi kampuni ambazo zimeorodheshwa katika soko la hisa la Nairobi, lakini pia zimeorodheshwa katika soko letu la hisa hapa.
Tanzania Revenue Authority TRA has warned entrepreneurs who issue receipts to customers with lower charges than the actual price of items purchased. TRA says such a malpractice was denying the government revenue.
Siende kwa mnunuzaji ukalipa $500,000 akakuandikia risiti ya $200,000.
Don't go to the seller and pay 500,000 and give you a 200,000 receipt. Then he has stolen from the government by deceiving its financial circumstances. We remind you businessmen that when you buy more than 100,000 product, make sure you go with your TIN number and name to be a legal buyer.
Na kwa sababu hiyo sisi tukafikiri kwamba ni vizuri kama TCCIA turatibu.
As TCCIA, we are coordinating nationwide to ensure that traders and farmers and all taxpayers pay their taxes without complaints.
Kodi ambazo hazina manunguniko.
Hata sisi wafanyabiashara wadogo pia
even we, small business, we need these EFD machines to improve our businesses, so we are asking for lower costs.
Some industrial investors in Coast Region have expressed concern on numerous taxes charged by regulatory authorities, which they claim have not considered production costs incurred.
TBS, Immigration, OSHA, NEMC, and others. All these institutions have its own charges. The leaders of these institutions have become enemies of the people with industries because they want to give out charges more than educating them.
Ni kuangalia vyanzo ambavyo unaweza kuvitumia ukakusanya.
Look at the sources you can use to raise income without killing a business. Improve the business environment so that investment increases so you can get more income.
Iweze kupata mapato zaidi.
And that's all for business news. Sports is next.
First time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's being dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters.
Position, Marquinhos, he did lose some length.
Now in sports. Simba Sports Club assistant coach Selemani Matola has sent a warning to their rivals that they will wrap up the mainland Premier League title soon.
Tanzania at CCM Kirumba Stadium in Mwanza over the weekend, which was enough to take them to 70 points at the peak of the table from 28 matches. They are 3 points ahead of rivals Yanga Sports Club, who pulled an incredible comeback to beat bottom-placed side Modui FC 3-2 on Sunday and also have 3 games in hand. Despite Yanga cutting the lead to 3 points, Matola says nothing has changed from their target of sealing a record 4th straight title.
Yanga Sports Club's dream of signing Mercy Ngimbi of Union Maniema did not materialize after TP Mazembe's president Moise Katumbi outbid them.
Yanga had already engaged Union Maniema of Ngimbi, who was seen as a natural replacement for Haruna Niyonzima, but Katumbi's bid threw a spanner into the works of the Jangwani Giants. They'd made a $40,000 bid for the midfielder for a 2-year contract, but TP Mazembe's bankroller is said to have made the bid that is more than double, around $100,000 of what the Tanzanian Giants had put on the table. Meanwhile, young head coach Nasreddin Nabi has revealed his objectives in the upcoming transfer period.
Thousands of Japanese spectators will be allowed to attend events at the Olympic Games this summer, organizers have said, despite warnings from health experts that crowd risks fueling a surge in coronavirus cases.
The president of the Tokyo 2020 organizing committee, Seiko Hashimoto, said attendance will be capped at up to 50% of the venue's capacity, or a maximum of 10,000 people. A decision on spectators at the Paralympics will be delayed until 16th of July, a week before the Olympics open. Japanese media reports said as many as 20,000 people could attend the Olympic opening ceremony at the main stadium, but organizers say the number would not be that high. Government officials say they would leave open the option of holding events without spectators if the infection situation worsened before or during the Olympics.
And Manchester City have made an opening bid for Harry Kane, which would guarantee Tottenham at least £100 million for the England striker. Here's the story.
Are open to discussing a players plus money deal, but Spurs have no intention of accepting their offer for the 27-year-old, who has told the club he wants to transfer. City transfer record is less than £65 million, but they are willing to shatter that in pursuit of Kane, who has been identified by Pep Guardiola as his primary target to strengthen a squad that won the Premier League and Carabao Cup last season and reached the Champions League final. Tottenham's chairman, Daniel Levy, is determined to keep Kane, who has 3 years remaining on his contract. Kane is forecast for now on Euro 2020, in which 2 disappointing personal displays have failed to bring him a goal.
Lewis Hamilton and his Mercedes team are expecting Red Bull to maintain their advantage in the coming races after Max Verstappen took victory at the French Grand Prix on Sunday.
Verstappen won after a mighty battle with Hamilton that was decided only on the penultimate lap. Mercedes believe they may have had their faster car, but the team have acknowledged that Red Bull will not be on the front foot at what constitutes 2 home races in a row at the Styrian and Austrian Grand Prix. Verstappen won at Paul Ricard despite having lost the lead to Hamilton after going wide at the first corner of lap 1. He managed to pass the British driver through the first pit stops when Mercedes underestimated the advantage of the undercut Red Bull were able to take in beating Verstappen first.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. My name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.